Life Audio.
Welcome to the Team Us podcast, where we share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Hi, everyone. We're Ted
and Ashley
Slater. Do you and your spouse have couple friends? Today, we'll discuss why making them can sometimes be challenging, offer you some practical tips on how to find and connect with other married couples, and share 3 types of couple friends we all need.
So, Ted, you have been building something in the backyard this week.
Yes. I'm trying to think of something funny or snarky to say, but it's a trampoline.
Right. We finally,
Big trampoline.
Our youngest has actually been asking for a trampoline for a long time.
Yes. Throughout the process, I've actually, even when I shared that we got a trampoline, the thought goes through my head, we'll bounce for like a week and then it'll just stay there collecting dust for years. But what I've been thinking is, in addition to being a trampoline, it's a very large hammock, which you can lay in at night and look up at the stars or whatnot.
Which you've been wanting a hammock, so it's like either a very expensive hammock or like a multi-purpose backyard fun. I mean, it's kind of a hot time of year here in Arizona to buy a trampoline.
It is.
But I think we're going to put like misters or sprinklers on it to kind of make it even more fun.
Yes.
It's a little water park.
Yeah.
Trampoline.
Our kids are looking forward to having friends bounce on it with them.
Right.
And maybe we'll have friends bouncing on it with us.
Yeah.
That'd be
fun. We'll check the weight limit first.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But that would be fun because, it's more fun when we have friends come do stuff with us.
Absolutely. That's a stretch.
I know. It's a stretch to segue into today's topic, which is about making couple friends. And we have moved a lot over the years.
Oh, I am so tired of moving. I'm never moving again. Yeah. That's why I just sit in my chair all day. I'm done moving.
But we haven't necessarily moved on purpose. Sometimes we've tried really hard to stay someplace and God has had other plans for us.
Yes.
But speaking of friends, one thing that you always say when we have relocated,
I know,
is, do you want to say it?
Yeah. We may not have friends there at the moment, but we have friends yet to discover or something to that effect.
Here's how I remember it.
Okay.
We have friends here. We just haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
And I think that served us well over the years. That anticipation. It has.
It's always been true.
Yeah. So, over the years, we've both had friends and we've often known their spouses, but that doesn't mean that all of our friends have been couple friends.
Right. Yeah.
But there's something fun and helpful about not just having individual friends, but also having couple friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually found a quote because we all know, if you've listened for a while, that I like quotes.
From your favorite author?
No, it is not from, Shante Feldheim's research. Yeah. I love her marriage research books. It is not from her this time. Is actually, I found it on Focus on the Family's website in one of their devos. Yeah. Marriage and family expert Laird Crump says, if a couple wants to run the marriage race well, they need to develop meaningful relationships with other couples who are moving in a positive direction. So basically, it's this idea of the people we surround ourselves with can positively impact us individually and as a couple. But I think that as couples, a lot of us have a hard time making couple friends. It can feel daunting and discouraging at times. So after this break, we're going to delve into the topic. We're going to talk about thoughts on why it can feel challenging to make couple friends, places we can make couple friends, and 3 types of couple friends that I think every married couple could benefit from having.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So after this break, we'll talk about that. So we've been fortunate to have had some great couple friends over the years. We're not going to throw any names out there, but I think it's interesting that friends we were close to like 22 years ago in Virginia or even 5 years ago in Atlanta aren't necessarily our good friends now simply because of proximity.
Right.
And it's
hard to maintain friendships when you're 1,000, 2,000 miles away from them.
Right.
You keep in contact. There's always a friendliness, but just not the same camaraderie.
Right. Because that closeness fades with distance. Yeah. Talking in unison today. Oh, now we're playing the... No, stop it. Okay. So for us making couple friends, I don't think it's looked the same in all the places we lived during all the different seasons of marriage and parenting that we've been in.
Right. In part because we've been involved in different things, the different places, like back in Virginia or Georgia. I was more involved with the worship band at church, or we were involved with premarital counseling. Mentoring.
We are not counselors.
Yeah, we did different things to the place we're at.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I think there are two challenges to making couple friends that I think have remained the same in all of our locations and all our seasons of life. And I think that those listening, maybe you guys will resonate with this and go, okay, yeah, we've struggled with that too. And I think the first one is finding a couple that we both connect with. Mm-hmm. Because like sometimes I've maybe made a good friend and you and your husband don't click or don't have enough common interests, or he doesn't get your sense of humor. To be friends with you, someone has to get your sense of humor, I think.
Oh, yeah. It can be really offensive to people who don't get me.
Or they just stare at you and it's like, Yeah. Or, maybe you've made a buddy and his wife and I don't naturally connect. It might be like pulling teeth to have conversation, or she might not love my personality.
For example, like...
We are not naming any names here.
Nobody comes to mind at the moment in our current season. Like,
no, I can think of people in the past.
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But I was kind of thinking about this particular challenge of finding a couple friend in the context of how like men and women interact with friends.
Okay.
Like, for example, men tend to live out their friendships more shoulder to shoulder, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like one of my friends came over and helped me spread some rock in the backyard. And he had a lot of experience, so I'm glad he kind of took it over. But working shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah.
I have met with some guy friends face to face, at lunch or something. And that's fine. But typically, I think you're right. A shoulder to shoulder thing is what guys tend to do rather than a coffee date.
Right, which is what women tend to do more. But so like you might easily connect with other men over spreading rock or smoking meat or hot sauce or cheeseburgers,
All of that.
Right. And I think, as we just said, women are more face to face. And for me, I think that translates into needing to feel like I don't just have common interests with someone. I mean, yes, that's how you first kind of connect.
Yeah, but to talk about something in common.
Right, but that we can move past small talk quickly. I can do small talk. I don't love extended small talk. I like when I connect with a friend and it's like we can jump into life, talking about life in an honest way. You know what I mean? And so I think sometimes that can affect how we connect with maybe a couple, because you might connect instantly with the guy over something like smoking meat.
Sure.
And it might take longer, especially in the context of couples getting together, for me and the wife to connect. I mean, I've learned to have patience in those situations, but I think it's interesting how that can also affect whether we both connect with them. And maybe if other wives are like me, maybe they need to give it more time too. I don't know. Just kind of contemplating that. I don't know if that makes sense.
A little bit. I'm a little distracted by the foot on your microphone getting ready to fall off the table.
Oh, okay. Well, is that better?
That's better.
Okay, good. You look distracted. I was
distracted. I was anticipating the microphone just going.
I was like, he's looking at me strange. I'm not making no sense whatsoever. Do we need to hit pause and restart?
No.
Okay. All right. So number 2, I think once we find a couple that we connect well with, I think finding time to get together with that couple, because life is busy, work, kids' schedules, prioritizing our time together.
Right.
It can be hard to find that extra time to get together with couples.
Yeah, I mean,
and build that friendship.
Calendars, you need to be open at the same time.
Right.
So it can be a lunch thing, a midday thing, an evening thing.
Yeah. And I feel it's interesting because, like, when you go out with couple friends, technically it's date night because it can be a double date, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like it to substitute our date night, because I feel like when we go out with couple friends, it's about us connecting with them. It's not necessarily about you and I connecting.
Right. We would talk about something different if it was just you and me.
Right. And so it's kind of interesting. I mean, that puts another kind of difficulty in the schedule because I don't want to replace our date nights. Anyway, I think those are 2 challenges I think we have faced, and maybe those listening have faced, and they can be discouraging. And sometimes it can be like, all right, why even try? But I think it's important to have couple friends.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about where we've made some couple friends.
Okay.
Like you mentioned church.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I think in the past, maybe work, but now that we both work from home.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are finding themselves working not in a traditional office anymore. So that might not be a place as much as it was in the past to make friends.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple friends, up in the Phoenix area that together we haven't all spent time together.
I haven't met them. Yeah.
That's a bad example.
Right. But you're hopeful. You're hopeful. You have spent time with them.
Camaraderie there. They're cool people. You'd love them.
So you're hopeful that I will feel that
But we also make friends
connection.
With neighbors, I'm not jumping ahead, am I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
With neighbors, with couples that are involved in common activities like theater. Not so much dance in this season of life.
No, but it's kind of this idea of places you go frequently. I think we've been very fortunate with neighbors because I think that
walking distance, yeah.
Right. And I think we have both connected with
absolutely.
the couple.
Cool
I can think of two specific couples and we've connected with both of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel, and our kids like each other. I felt very, very fortunate. It's really been a gift from God that made the long waiting for our house worth it. Because I often think how we had no idea.
No.
That
we have coffee in common, but we also have faith in common and sort of deep thinking and struggling stuff, Yeah. It's called life stuff in common, so.
Yeah, homeschooling. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was reading a blog post over at Prepare, Enrich, and it shared a couple more ideas on where to make friends. And one is hobbies, which I guess you could kind of count. I don't know if you count theater and dance are more of our kids' hobbies.
Right.
That they bring us into. So that's more of we meet people through our kids.
That's true. I mean, I do appreciate theater and, live theater, musicals and stuff, but it's mostly our kids.
Yeah, that we meet other people. And we've met some great couples through our kids. But the post says, what do you do as a couple to spend time together? Maybe there's a group you can join and find other couples. Consider if your community has an adult softball league or volunteer opportunity. If you join, you're likely to find other couples who already have something in common with you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe once all our kids are gone, that might end up being something we do.
Okay, so I'm thinking of things that you and I like doing together. I mean, we both cook. We typically don't cook together, but you cook something nice, then I cook something nice.
We are a better team when we don't cook together.
I don't know about that. I think we should try. I think we'd do fine.
Yeah,
I'll chop the onions, you fry up something, cilantro.
Okay, we've gotten past I like to follow a recipe and you don't.
Oh, no.
Part of our
We're
marriage.
still seeing recipes as guidelines and not
okay.
things.
Yeah.
Particularly if we made the recipe a couple times before.
Right. Yeah.
Except beef bourguignon, you just got to follow the recipe.
Oh, yeah. Or it's not going to turn out. Right. Yeah. So cooking. I thought it could be fun. And in a past episode, when we talked to James and Arlene Pelican, they talked about this. They're taking a dance class.
A dance class. How fun is that?
Right. So, I mean, that could be fun. I don't...
Like hip-hop or ballroom?
More like ballroom or partner dancing. I mean, I am not really a gardener because I can keep kids alive, but I haven't done so well of keeping plants alive.
Yeah.
But I appreciate a garden, and if I knew how to do it, maybe I'd enjoy it more. So, I mean, gardening, because you like gardening, that could be a fun...
Yeah, absolutely.
So hobbies. Another one they said was family. The blog post noted that there's something special about developing friendship bonds with your siblings and their partners. If you've never had a hangout together without mom, dad, and your kids, suggest that grandma and grandpa watch the grandkids and do something with just the siblings. And I think this kind of depends on whether your siblings are married or if they live close. Like I have a friend who all of her siblings are married. They don't live in the same area, but when they get together, they hang out like that because they're genuinely friends. I think her brother might have married her college roommate.
Oh, wow.
So to me, when I read this, I think of them, and I just think that's really cool because they're all in similar seasons, whereas your sister and her husband live far away. And my sister who's married, they just have an unusual schedule that makes it hard.
Right. Pet responsibilities.
Right. So, but I thought that's, I mean, if you have the right kind of ingredients for that.
We should try to squeeze that in with your sister and brother-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to text her.
Okay.
All right. Well, after a short break, we'll share 3 kinds of married friends we all need. Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of married friends or couple of friends, can we surround ourselves with? And we can keep this in mind as we're, thinking of where we can meet them too. And I think one is, I've got 3 different types that I think can be good for our marriages. And the first one is the way we were engaged or married friends. So
what in the world?
The way we were.
I know the song.
Well, you already mentioned, that it's been quite a few years now because we did this back in Atlanta, but we were doing premarital mentoring.
Right.
And so during those years that we participated in it, we had the privilege of helping, I think, 6 or 7 couples prepare for marriage.
Right.
And I think that one thing we discovered in the process was that we weren't just helpful to the couples, they were helpful to us.
Absolutely.
Like these almost married friends kind of reminded us of the way we were. Not that we were, we still loved each other, we're still committed, but when...
There's a naivete and a, wonder.
Right. And an appreciation, and it's... Well, no, I'm just thinking the responsibilities of like life and kids and all that, it's just different. And I think as we interacted with them and observed them, it had a good way of reminding us why we got married in the first place.
Sure. It's like when you go to their wedding and they repeat the vows and you're like, we did this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish we could have gone to all the weddings. There were a couple we had to miss because of schedule conflicts.
That was rough.
But it's fun keeping up with some of them still on social media and seeing how their families are growing or what they're doing. All right. So number 2, the us two married friends.
Yes.
So most of our friends fall into this us two type of couple friends. Like they've been together long enough to know what it feels like when marriage, because we all have this, when marriage feels more like a business partnership sometimes than a romance. We all have those moments. There's just different moments of life. And these are other couples, who are currently in the trenches of heavy workloads and parenting and financial pressures. And I think that when you have someone who's in the trenches with you, you like all those Band of Brothers and war movies where, explain what it makes you feel when you watch that.
There's a camaraderie. You get these guys that are fighting a battle side by side against a common enemy or problem or struggle or whatever. And, you just sweat and bleed alongside your friends as you're trying to bring about a better world.
Well, and that's that kind of idea here, is that the us two married friends are those couple friends that are in the same trenches with us. They're going
there's always something to talk about.
Right. And there's something about, when this kid has a meltdown, being able to go to that friend who has a kid at a similar age and go, this is what I came home to today.
Right. And even if there's no solution offered or suggestion, you still are sort of sharing each other's struggles.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. They're going, okay, you're not alone. You're not a horrible mom because I'm going through this too. It's the age. Of course, we want to help guide our kids through that. But so I think that we all need those couple friends who can come alongside us and say, we get it. We're right there too. We're in the trenches with you. Okay. So number 3.
Yes.
The been there, done that couple friends.
What in the world?
Like my little...
Is that like mentor couples?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like when it comes to couple friends, I think we need couples who are also a season or 2 ahead of us.
Right.
And I will say that most of the couple friends we have tend to be us two friends. I think we could be more intentional about having the been there, done that friends, because I think that's very beneficial.
Yeah. I'm thinking of one couple, right?
Yeah. I think you're probably thinking of the same couple.
That built their home and they have a swimming pool.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And so these couples, they've been married longer, have kids who are older than ours or are empty nesters. They're empty nesters. Of course, their kids are older than ours.
Well, the cool thing about them is they walk out their marriage in a way that is inspiring to me.
Yeah.
And they're also really cool just to hang out with. Just this so easy just to hang out with them. So it's not like they're older and I'm like sitting down and getting this sage wisdom from a couple that's 20 years older or whatever. But
well, and the truth is, age-wise, they're probably not that much older than you are.
Hey, Ratchet.
But life, like season-wise, they're ahead of us. So it's not necessarily they have to be a huge age gap. It's this being ahead in the seasons of life.
Right.
Well, and he gets your sense of humor. He's gotten your sense of humor since the beginning. And she's
Since the beginning.
She's just real. We definitely need to like try to.
Definitely.
And she's not judgy. Like when you share stuff, if I share stuff I'm going through with the kids, there's no judgment. I get some story from her that's like, oh, she gets it. So something that I don't think you brought up is that some of our couple friends, there's not a lot that we have in common except our faith. They might be at a different stage of life, different struggles, different experiences, more working with their hands and not with computers kind of friends. And it's fine. We still do stuff together and do escape rooms and it's, friends don't have to be a mirror image. Yeah. I mean, I think there are things we have in common, such as for you, like food, cooking food, smoking food. Yep. Or that's a good point. Me, maybe going through some hard things like a miscarriage or things like that. Perfect. So there are those kind of experiences that for me, there is this something about, it's hard to understand a miscarriage unless you've been through it. Right. That's good. And I realize that because I've been through it. I remember the before and now the after. Right. But in some ways they look different. They go off on adventures on a motorcycle and I can't see myself doing that. But you got a convertible. I have a convertible. But they've turned into some sweet friends. I actually need to text them and get together. Yeah, yes. They're really cool. Yeah. Okay. So you have something to add? It's something else. Okay, good. Have we talked about how you broach the idea, is that the right word, of inviting a couple to do something? Like there's always a first time to be like, hey, we think you're really cool. Can we grab a bite or do, We have not talked about that. I do think it needs to be talked about between us before we do it. I don't think one of us should surprise the other. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a different show. Maybe. Podcast, how to... Well, how would you do it? How have we done it before? The sandwich method is always good. You guys are really cool. We should get together for lunch or something. I feel like that's normally how it is. I feel like we meet in some sort of context. Because then you're sandwiching the affirmation with the lunch. Right. Very nice. Well, and I think because we have moved a lot, sometimes we get invited to dinner or invited to something because we're new. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of can accomplish that. No, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's interesting. I didn't work that into my notes, but maybe the how-to. Maybe the time challenge, unless you already got one. We can change the time challenge. Well, I am married to you, not my notes. Oh, there we go. Well, I will let you get back on track. Okay. I deviated us. Well, no, that's good. Yeah. That was helpful. Okay, so to recap, it's good for us to have couple friends. Well, there are some challenges to making them, such as connection and schedules. We can seek out these friendships in places like church, through hobbies, work, depending upon if you work in an office or not, family, and if you have kids, through your kids. And I think there are 3 types of married friends that are good for our marriages. So as you're making marriage friends, maybe think about these different kinds of friends. The way we were, engaged or married friends, people that we are a little further ahead of in life, but they remind us of the newness and freshness of our relationship. The us two married friends, those friends that are in the trenches, same season. The been there, done that married friends, those who are ahead of us, who can be like mentors. Yeah. And after this break, we'll be back with this time's Us Time Challenge. So, this is what I had written down. Okay, let's hear it. But we can change it. Yeah? So for this week's Us Time Challenge, I was going to encourage those listening to think about their couple friends. Do they have some? And if so, maybe schedule a time to go on a double date or hang out. And if they don't, maybe come up with a strategy for making some. So here's, if they don't, what might they try then? Right. So maybe they think about a couple that they both feel like they've connected with. Yeah. Because they don't have to start from scratch. Maybe think about the places they've gone, the couples they've interacted with, and then maybe invite that couple over for dinner. Or if they know... That's really easy to do, right? Yeah. You're going to likely eat dinner.
just make a little bit more and have them over and,
right.
Just say, hey, show up at 5:30. I'm going to kick you out at 7:30 because we got family activity at that point. So you set expectations. It's not like you're doing a 5-hour thing together.
Right.
Start small, make it happy and fun.
Yeah. So I think that's,
I think it's a great challenge. Anybody can do that. Well, most people can do that.
Hopefully. I mean, it's going to take a little courage because I think we all worry about rejection or it not going well or getting in a fight right before they're supposed to come over and then being like, or there's that. I was listening. Okay, I know we're at the end of the podcast, but I was listening to.
You're never supposed to introduce something new at the end, but I will allow in this instance.
Hey, we can make the rules for that. I was listening to, I think it's the Holderness Family podcast, and they had an episode a while back on like the friendship recession and just as adults, how it can be hard to make friends.
Okay.
And they said that the struggle is sometimes that they make plans, but they would rather just stay at home in their pajamas. And I was like, that is a legitimate struggle.
It is.
So do, if that's the struggle, you have to step out of that comfort zone of, I just want to be home. I don't want to interact.
And you can, like I said, set expectations. You can do 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then once you say goodbye and good night for the evening, then put your pajamas on and chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be
true.
2 hours.
Okay. Well, I'm coming up with several couples in my head.
Absolutely.
That we should get together with in the next few months.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for joining us on the Team Us podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast, and we'd love to have you leave a review over at Apple Podcasts. We're looking forward to next time as we keep talking about how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Team Us with Ted and Ashley Slater is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review the podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.